I want to tell you about a conversation that I had at an art exhibition opening, not too long ago. Someone was standing in front of a work, a large, vivid painting by a young Zimbabwean artist, and they said, very quietly, but I actually heard them, "Is this actually good?" And I thought about that question for a very long time afterwards. They did not ask, do I like this? Not does it move me, but they asked, is it good? As if goodness in art is a fixed thing, a measurement, as if somewhere there is a ruler. The idea of good art, of timeless beauty, of universal aesthetic value is one of the most successfully exported ideas in Western intellectual history. It goes back to ancient Greeks. It runs through the Renaissance. It gets codified by Enlightenment, by the Enlightenment thinkers like Kant, who believed that beauty was something objective, something that you could perceive correctly or incorrectly. That idea became the foundation of Western art education. And then, through colonialism, it became the framework through which African, Asian, indigenous art was evaluated. And almost always it was found lacking. Not because it was lacking, but because it was being measured against a ruler that it was never made to fit. We absorb standards of beauty before we can question them, from the images in the books that we are given as children, from what was framed on the walls of the schools that we attended, from what television told us was aspirational. In Zimbabwe, many of us grew up in a system that presented European art as the standard and African creative practice as something lesser, as craft and traditional and ethnic. That is not a description of quality. That is a political act disguised as aesthetics. Here is something that I want you to hold on to. Monetary value in art is not about quality. It is about consensus. A work is valuable because enough powerful people have agreed that it is valuable. Galleries promote it, collectors buy it, museums acquire it, critics write about it, and that cycle becomes the proof of its value. That is why an artist in Bulawayo with extraordinary vision can be unknown outside of Zimbabwe, while an artist in the Western world with far less depth can command prices that feel obscene. It is not about the work. It is about who has access to the systems that assign value. Now, I'm not saying that there are no standards at all. I'm not saying that art is equally everything. What I am saying is, ask who made the standards. Ask when they were made and for whose benefit. Because when you start to ask those questions, is this good art, becomes a much more interesting and a much more honest question. And the work you dismissed because it did not look like what you would have been taught to value, you might find that it's been waiting for you the whole time.